I'm Michael Taylor Gray.
And I'm Tanya Kane Perry.
With NewsWrap, a summary of some of the news in or affecting LGBTQ communities around the world for the week ending April 4th, 2020. COVID-19 continues to engulf the world, and we'll have LGBTQ-related updates on the pandemic later in this newscast. Meanwhile, other major events made queer news this week. Singapore's High Court rejected calls to overturn the city-state's colonial-era statute that outlaws gross indecency between men. A challenge to the ruling has already been filed in the Court of Appeal on behalf of well-known disc jockey Johnson Ung Ming and veteran LGBTQ rights activist, retired Dr. Roy Tan. That's according to their respective lawyers quoted in the Straits Times on March 31st. Lawyers for plaintiff activist Brian Chung in the third separate legal challenge to Penal Code Section 377A said that they'd be filing their challenge soon. In his 105-page ruling, High Court Justice C pointed to a Court of Appeal decision in 2014 upholding the statute and said that he saw no cogent reasons to depart from binding decisions of the highest court in the land.
LGBTQ groups, of course, condemned the Singapore High Court ruling. A statement issued by Ready for Repeal, which gathered more than 44,000 signatures on a 2018 petition advocating repeal, called it a bitter blow to LGBTQ Singaporeans who yearn to be treated as equals in their country. Organizers of the massive annual Pink Dot Rally in the Park for LGBTQ rights said the ruling effectively upholds, entrenches, and continues the discrimination of a minority group. Pink Dot was among the hundreds, perhaps thousands, of Pride-related events that have been canceled or postponed around the world because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Pink Dot will become a virtual Shine a Pink Light from Your Home event on June 27th. A literally worldwide virtual LGBTQ Pride celebration on that day is also in the works.
Government bans on LGBTQ Pride events in the Turkish capital of Ankara have been ruled unlawful. A March 23rd decision by the Second Administrative Court reaffirmed its April 2019 ruling on the illegality of the ban. Ankara's government had still banned a planned Pride event after that ruling, which forced the LGBTI associations of Ankara back into court. Once again, it was found that the government failed to provide any concrete evidence to justify the ban. Activists said that they hope Ankara officials will finally relent.
The U.S. state of Idaho's Republican Governor Brad Little has signed 2 bills that target the rights of transgender people. One denies trans people the ability to change their gender on their state birth certificates. The other bans trans schoolgirls from participating as girls in school athletics. Shannon Minter of the National Center for Lesbian Rights told the Washington Blade that he expects queer legal advocacy groups to file lawsuits challenging both anti-trans laws. Governor Little signed both bills into law on March 30th, the day before the Transgender Day of Visibility. Alex Schmeider of the LGBTQ media watchdog group GLAAD slammed Little's ill-timed action. Schmeider said, "While the United States is overwhelmed with a massive public health crisis, Little passed legislation targeting some of the most vulnerable members of the LGBTQ community, transgender children."
A global pandemic is apparently no reason to put a pause on hate. A report issued by the highly respected Southern Poverty Law Center warns of a huge spike in the number of anti-queer groups across the United States during the past year. The center tracks far-right extremism around the country on many fronts. This week's report says that the number of anti-LGBTQ groups that they've monitored in the last 12 months has mushroomed from 49 to 70. The report lays at least part of the blame on Donald Trump. It claims that a number of high-profile Trump appointees have links to homophobic groups and charges that staffers from organizations that vilify the LGBTQ community have been hired by the Trump administration and have influenced and written its policies. Contrary to candidate Trump's promise to protect LGBTQ people, his administration has filed a number of briefs in federal anti-discrimination cases generally supporting religious-based bias against LGBTQ people. The White House trotted out a gay Trump apologist to dismiss the Southern Poverty Law Center report. Deputy Press Secretary Judd Deere accused what he called the radical left and without specifics dubbed the report a far-left smear.
The COVID-19 crisis and mounting political pressure has prompted a relaxation of the rules on blood donations from gay and bisexual men by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The FDA yielded to the call from more than a dozen senators and the LGBTQ advocacy group GLAAD. Regulations established in 2015 banned male blood donors who had had sex with another man during the previous 12 months. Now it's cut to 3 months. That falls short of scientifically based evidence supporting a complete removal of the ban. Lesbian senator from Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, led the lawmakers' approach to the FDA and lamented that it shouldn't have taken a pandemic and the resulting urgent blood shortage. A GLAAD statement applauded the policy change, but promised to keep pushing for the ban to be lifted entirely. Sexually active gay and bisexual men in the UK and Australia are also banned from donating blood. Veteran Aussie activist Rodney Croom pointed to warnings by experts of a looming blood shortage down under because of the pandemic. Croom pointed out that the risk of passing on diseases like HIV through blood donation is created by unsafe sex, not gay sex. We can't allow old prejudices to get in the way of saving lives.
Among a number of prominent deaths in the LGBTQ community from COVID-19 this week, 60-year-old New Jersey emergency room doctor Frank Gabrin died in his husband's arms only a few days after displaying symptoms. In addition to praising his husband as a person who just wanted to help people, Arnold Vargas urged everyone to demand adequate personal protective equipment for healthcare providers.
Progressives in New York City and beyond are mourning the COVID-19 death of Mexican immigrant and transgender activist Lorena Borjas. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said she was heartbroken by the news. Trans ACLU attorney Chase Strangio praised Borjas for saving more people than almost anyone I have ever known.
Another casualty of COVID-19 this week was top South African scientist Geeta Ramsey, who dedicated her life to fighting and preventing HIV/AIDS. The 64-year-old was well known for her work expanding access to HIV treatment to disadvantaged women. UN AIDS Executive Director Winnie Byanyima described Ramsey's death as a huge loss at a time when the world needs her most.
The British man, credited with founding Manchester's world-famous gay village, is also among the dead this week. His brother announced that Glenn Stevens died in the hospital after showing symptoms of COVID-19 before suffering a fatal stroke.
On the brighter side, a British medical fetish store called MedFet has donated its entire stock of hospital scrubs to the National Health Service. Producers of gay creator Ryan Murphy's acclaimed TV series Pose have donated everything usable from their hospital set, including genuine medical supplies to area hospitals. Pose is set in New York City during the AIDS pandemic. Murphy also personally donated $50,000 to a fund created to assist people in the creative arts who've lost their jobs because of the virus.
Finally, prejudice and protest, not a pandemic shutdown, forced the closure of the last remaining ChickfilA fast food outlet in the UK. Pink News reports that the notoriously anti-queer restaurant franchise established in the Oracle Shopping Center in Reading closed its doors after Oracle management decided not to renew its 6-month pilot period lease. Despite a PR effort to the contrary, Chick-fil-A's reigning rooster, Dan Cathy, recently wrote a letter to the far-right American Family Association reaffirming that the Atlanta, Georgia-based company continues to fund anti-LGBTQ groups and causes. Very visible and vocal protests by LGBTQ activists and their supporters at each location have now made the UK Chick-fil-A less. Martin Cooper of Reading Pride told Berkshire Live that it was not about the conservative religious beliefs of the company's management. Cooper said, "It was about their reported actions. That's where we drew the line and decided to act." Chick-fil-A's only other UK outlet was located inside McDonnell Avamore Resort in the Scottish Highlands. It shuttered its doors in January.
That's NewsWrap, global queer news with attitude, for the week ending April 4th, 2020. Follow the news in your area and around the world. An informed community is a strong community.
NewsWrap is usually recorded in the studios of KPFK Los Angeles, but we're recording remotely during the COVID-19 emergency. The news is written by Greg Gordon, edited by Lucia Chappelle, produced by Brian DeShazer, and brought to you by you.
Help keep us in ears around the world at thiswayout.org, where you can also read the text of this newscast and much more.
And you can listen to NewsWrap each week by subscribing to our This Way Out Radio YouTube channel. For This Way Out, I'm Tanya Kane Perry. Stay safe.
And I'm Michael Taylor Gray. Stay healthy